What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the Tanner Martin Outdoors YouTube channel. I'm getting ready to go look for some velvet bucks in some bean fields here. It's a Friday evening. It's cool. We've had a couple cold fronts, and these bucks have been out in these bean fields quite a bit lately, so I'm getting ready to go look for some more. But today I got you the last video from Lake Guntersville. We went out punching the last morning. We were down there. We had some stuff that we wanted to fish on the south end of the lake the last afternoon, so we got up, went to the north end of the lake, and decided to go punching up there, and actually caught a pretty dang good bag. I think we had like 18.5 pounds, and unfortunately only a handful of fish catches were on camera. But for those of you, there was a couple comments on the last video, the cranking video, about how Dad was doing all this netting and I wasn't letting him catch no fish. Lucky for you guys, he catches the big one in this video, and it was pretty awesome. Caught it punching on a 1 ounce TMO tungsten weight. And I'm also going to jump in halfway through the fishing and show you guys exactly how I rig up my punching setup. That way, if you guys want to go punch, or just maybe you're just curious what setup I'm using, exactly how I rig it up, I'm going to show you guys that. Video after this, we got a big fish on topwater. If you guys watched the last video, you heard about it. I'm not going to say too much besides it was over 5 and it was on topwater and it was freaking awesome. So stay tuned for that one. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure to follow me on social media. Follow TMO Tungsten on social media. TMOtungsten.com for all your tungsten needs. And enjoy the video, guys. I bet he's over 4 or something. Look how skinny he is because he's post-spawn. What's your guess? 4. 4.8. So 4 3/4.
Good one.
Come to the camera.
Yeah, baby. Guntersville. See ya.
Alright guys, so I just want to jump into the video here really quick and show you guys my setup for punching heavy mats like this, like we were doing down here at Lake Guntersville. And to start it off, please use heavy braid. This is 65-pound braid. You're not going to want to use anything under 50-pound braid really when you're punching these heavy mats. It's really thick, and this braid's going to act like a saw and actually cut through the grass and help you get those fish in. And it's just vice versa if you're fishing in brush. The braid's actually going to dig into the brush and cut into it and get stuck. So 65-pound braid, you're going to want to use a heavy punching weight, flipping weight. This here is a 1 ounce, and all of our weights have the label on them. That way you can see exactly what size they are, and what size weight you're using is going to be determined by how thick a cover you're fishing. And I'm just going to do this example with a 1 ounce here. You're going to need some peg stops, of course your flipping hook, and some scissors. For those of you that don't know what these are, basically you slide these onto your line, and what they're going to do is stop your weight from sliding up and down your line. You want your weight to be fixed to the top of the hook That way it punches right through the heavy cover. So you guys can get these on our website. They're super cheap, or if you buy flipping weights from our website, we actually send them free in every order. So that's a great way to just get some. But my rule of thumb with these is anything over a 1/2 ounce weight. So like here we're using a 1 ounce weight. I'm going to use 2 of these pegs. Reason being, one of them has an opportunity to burn off your line during the day just from use and flipping and flipping and flipping multiple times. And also anything over a 1/2 ounce, 2 just helps it stay in place a little bit better. It won't push the peg stop up your line because it's such a heavy weight. So these are super simple. As you can see, there's just a loop here, and you're just going to stick your line through the loop, take the peg stop, pull it up, slide it on, and now it's on your line. So like I said, we're going to put 2 of these on here because we don't want that 1 ounce weight moving. Super simple. If I can get a hold of it. There you go. You can see we got 2 peg stops on. So we're just going to slide those up the line since we don't need those right this second. We got our peg stops on, and of course next we're going to put our weight on. So let's put that through here. Got our weight. So now we got our peg stops, our 2 peg stops. I will put them together, but the rig isn't finished yet, so I'm just going to leave them like that. So 2 peg stops. As you can see, it does stop the weight from sliding, which is exactly what we want it to do. And now comes the important part with your flipping hook. This is just a normal straight shank flipping hook with this little bait keeper here. And the knot that I'm going to show you guys, you want to make sure you're using a straight shank flipping hook with a bait keeper, because this knot, if you don't use a bait keeper, or if your hook doesn't have a bait keeper on it or some type of ridge, it will slide up and down the shank of the hook, which you don't want. So this knot is called a Snell knot, and I'll show you why you want to use it here in the end. But first I'm going to show you how to tie it. So first things first, you want to hold, the way I do it is I hold the hook in my left hand, line in my right hand, and I have the hook, the point of the hook on the right side. And you want to make sure that you always take your line and put it through the hook this way. You don't want to put it through the hook this way. So take your line and feed it through the hook, just like that. We got it fed through, and then you're going to take your line that you fed through and pull it down the shank of the hook, and then pinch it about right here, right at the base of that bait keeper, and take your line and make a loop. And you kind of adjust it here whichever way it feels best. And you can see we got a loop there, and then we're just going to pinch that loop, and we have our tag end here, and we're going to wrap our tag end in front of this little ridge. If I can get this to focus, we're going to wrap our tag end in front of this little ridge here, but below the eye of the hook. There's 1. Make sure they stay in line. There's 2. There's 3. Slide them down with your finger, and I'm going to do 4 wraps, just because that's what I've had good luck with. And it says heavy braid, so there's no really reason to do more than that. So you got 4 wraps there. Make sure they're all tight together. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your tag end that you're wrapping, and you're going to put it back through this loop. If I can get a hold of it on the other side. There we go. So I got a hold of my tag end on the other side of the loop, and I got a hold of my main line, and then you're just going to pull your main line tight. And what I'll actually do is I'll wet this and pull your main line tight. Make sure it comes over that ridge there. You can see it cinches down. And this time we don't have too much of a tag end, but there is still a tag end, so I'm going to clip that off. And I always leave like a little 1/8 inch. Just leave a little 1/8 inch. You can see it's tight. And then of course you're going to put on your bait. But what this does, the reason you want to tie this knot in particular is because when you have everything cinched down tight here, you have your 2 peg stops down, your weight, then your hook. When that weight hits the fish's mouth, watch what it does to the hook. It kicks the hook straight up. So it takes that hook and it pushes it straight up. And what that does is it almost guarantees that you're gonna hook that fish. Your hookup percentage, your hookup ratio is gonna go through the roof, and you're gonna not miss very many fish. And it's also going to ensure that in almost every fish you do catch, they're gonna be hooked right in the roof of the mouth, because this kicks them straight, it kicks your hook straight up. So this is called the Snell Knot. I tie this even when I'm flipping fluorocarbon with a 1/4 ounce weight in bushes. I tie the same rig. I just use one bobber stock for that rig because that's under a 1/2 ounce. But the reason you go through the front of the hook is because it kicks it outward like that. If you were to go through this side of the hook, it's actually going to kick your hook backwards instead of forwards. It's going to kick your hook like this instead of like that. So make sure you go through the front of the hook. That's the most important part. It's an easy knot to tie, arguably probably one of the easiest knots to tie. You can do more than 4 wraps with fluorocarbon. Sometimes I'll do like 5 or 6, but with 65-pound braid, I do 4 or 5 wraps, and I don't have a single issue breaking off fish or anything. We punched mats down at Guntersville, like you guys have seen in these videos. We punched mats down there for 4 days, and you know, as long as you retie when your braid gets worn and put new bobber stops on, you're not going to break off fish on the hook set. That's a really strong knot. So yeah, guys, that's how you tie the Snell knot. It's the only knot I use when I am punching heavy mats, and tied it all week down at Guntersville, and caught a lot of fish on it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Ice is good.
How cold?
That's a fat.
Not long, but he's
Fat.
He's a 306.
Good one.
He's fat, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a chunk. Look at his belly.
Look at this. Look at the dirt right here. See that dirt?
Yes.
Belly on the bottom.
Yeah.
Fat tail.
He's hooked way